Let's start the playoffs off right with the best picks from each of the 6 games during Wildcard weekend. Starting on Saturday with Joe Mixon higher than 59.5 rushing yards. Mixon did struggle in the last 4 games of the season, but should be leaned on heavily as the Chargers are giving up the 8th most rushing yards and 8th lowest amount of passing yards over the last 5 weeks. Next, we're taking Russell Wilson lower than 220 passing yards. He hasn't hit this since week 13, and the Ravens are allowing the lowest amount of passing yards per game over that same stretch. And then on Sunday, we're going to take both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts higher on their passing totals. And this one is pretty simple. Both lines are pretty low despite them playing the worst and 4th worst teams respectively against the pass over the last 6 weeks. Before the last 2 picks, make sure you take our very best pick of the weekend, which is Justin Herbert higher than half a yard, which you can exclusively get along with a deposit match up to $1,000 when you use the code FELLAS over on Underdog Fantasy. For our 5th pick, we'll take Brian Robinson lower than 49.5 rushing yards because the Bucs have only allowed 1 running back since week 10 to eclipse that mark. And finally, he did it back in week 8 against the Vikings and in 6 of his last 8 games, so we are going to take Puka Nacua higher than 85.5 receiving yards.